as an AI leader in such a high profile research institute in Toronto, I want to hear your thoughts on some of the topics. First of all, AI innovation in the industries you have worked on, such as media industry, fintech industry, and also we will talk about what are your needs right now, what you think is important in your career. And last, we will talk about, you've been a big advocate for self-advocacy and, career growth. So we want to hear about, what do you think is self-advocacy and why is it important?
Thank you, Roxanne. It's always a pleasure to meet with you and speak with you. And I really enjoy the monthly AI meetings. And yeah, thank you for recognizing me and thank you for coming over here today. Over the past 10, 15 years, I've had a pleasure to work in different industries, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned media and news, you mentioned fintech. And I don't know if you know, but before that, I was working with natural resources and climate change.
Oh, that's a huge topic.
So that's another very fascinating topic, but maybe we can talk about it some other time. So what can I say? I feel really privileged that I have experience to work in those different fields. They are very different, but of course there's a lot of similarities between them, and there's lots of knowledge that can be transferred from one field to the other. I think one similarity between these industries is that they're both really old industries.
Yeah,
they existed for, of course, thousands of years, and because of that, they have maybe experienced one of the biggest impact by AI transformation. So there's lots of things that happens with the recent AI developments that induce these industries to change and to adapt. And I think it'll be fair to say that fintech has a bit of advantage of being a bit early adopter of AI innovations, but also at the same time, media and news have been impacted really a lot by the most recent innovations in the area of generative AI.
Yeah.
So if we would think about comparing those industries and speaking about challenges or limitations, I think it would be really fair to flip the viewpoint here and think about opportunities and responsibilities, because I think that is something that we can definitely compare and observe. So if you think about opportunities in fintech, there's plenty, and I don't think we have enough time today to talk about all of them. But I would say one of the main ones I would see in terms of personalization and how fintech can support its clients and its customers with more personalized services. For instance, what can it be? It can be personalized recommendations for financial asset management. It can be personalized recommendation for investment. It can be personalized treatment or recommendations for how to manage personal loans, and etc. So there is a really wide spectrum of what fintech can do with regard to personalization. And the other side of that is, of course, as a customer, you would want to probably enjoy services more if they are very smooth and
cater to your needs.
Exactly, cater to your needs. So automation would be the second part of that. When you think about media industry, I think that's where transformation has to happen even bigger or even more serious. And here I would maybe point out an opportunity for media industry to redesign or to rethink entire model of customer relationship. What is your customer relationship approach? Because in the past, 100 years, it's maybe was one model, but because these days, we as individuals can consume news in so many different formats that the old system of customer relations has to be somewhat changed. And that's a really big opportunity for media industry to transform, to rethink the whole model. It will likely impact the way how news is created. It will certainly impact how news are distributed. It will likely impact the monetization that comes from media and from news. But that's a one really, really huge opportunity. At the same time, there comes responsibility. That's the other side. So when you think about responsibility, especially in the news, one of the biggest responsibilities right now comes with regard to ensuring content authenticity.
Right.
Because there's so much content can be generated using AI tools. And because news become available from so many different platforms, so many different channels, it's also really important to catch early signs of misinformation, of fake news. The fake news become like, they proliferate different channels, different platforms, different social media platforms. So that's another responsibility angle from the news and media industry that comes. So there should be very strictly kind of very clearly defined ways how news can be created and distributed responsibly.
Yeah, for sure there are similarities in terms of challenges in these two industries. People who are in a very influential positions in the company, they bear more responsibilities, when they think about what action to take to resolve things like fake news or fraud in the finance. They're the person who need to make the right decision. That actually connects to one of my other questions. If these people, they're higher up in the company, they may not deal with day-to-day operations. They may not see what's like going on in the front line of business. If, let's say, I am a senior person in the company and I am talking with my customers and I receive their like needs right every day. So if I spot problem that I could think about how AI can improve that. If I come up with an AI innovative ideas, how would I effectively communicate this idea to the influential stakeholders in the company, to those decision makers? How would I advocate for my ideas?
It's a good question. And there's not a one definite answer how to go around it. I would say the answer should be multifaceted to be the most kind of precise or the most helpful here. First of all, I would really recommend to understand to where does the company go? What's the company's direction? Usually you can understand it from annual OKRs. What is the company's biggest objective? Where does it want to be in a year time?
You want to tell us what is OKR? What does it stand
Objectives and key results.
Objectives and key results.
Yes. So for instance, you say, I want to be number one in field X. That will be your objective. And then the results will be, so in order to reach my objective, I want to, let's say, engage, let's say, X number of clients. I want to build X number of products, and I want to see that type of relationship enhancement, for example. So you create an objective.
Yeah.
You can have several objectives, and usually there will be several ones. And then you create a list of results that are very detailed, and you can really, so the results will be formulated in a way that really helps you to understand, has the objectives been achieved or not. So every year, all the companies create OKRs, and some companies prefer to do it top down, others also do it down up, but normally it's top down.
Okay.
So when you know where the company goes, and usually I guess you as an employee, you're going to have probably not just one brilliant idea, but maybe 10 or 20.
Yeah, always.
There's never a shortage of good ideas. So when you know the company OKRs, you know what are the important things for the company for the next year or two. It will help you to, first of all, identify, does this idea fit into where a company wants to be in a year? and it might help you to tailor your idea to fit in better also. And once, let's say you have 20 ideas and you have picked 3 of them that are really, really aligned with where a company wants to go, I guess then it will be important for you to understand who would be the right sponsor for the company for your idea, and propose a meeting. Of course, it's good, and it's always better to talk in person about it and to explain how this idea can help company to get the results that it wants to see and to achieve the objective of the company. I think that will be the most essential thing to do. Of course, a lot of it depends on what is your relationship with the company, how long you've been there, whether or not you have somebody who can support and back you up.
Yeah.
It will also be good to do some kind of background research, how busy the teams that have to be involved are, whether this is something that can be aligned with their OKRs and their objectives. Because of course, not just the company has an objectives, every division, every team, every group will have their own specific objectives and goals that will support the overall objective of the company. So it's good just to have a good understanding of all these things, and of course do your best, prep, do the homework and prep your presentation about your idea as much as you can.
Yeah, I think that would be a very good mind exercise for you to start thinking big, right?
At the same time, since you mentioned the mindset, and we can talk about this more if you want to, we can expand this, but think about it from adopting a mindset of a leader. You don't have to be in a high position or have a big title. I think these days we're supposed to lead in any position we are. Once you start doing this, be prepared for failure. Failures might happen, but it's really important what you learn during the process and what you learn from the result of it. So don't be afraid to fail.
That's a very good message. I think, in our community, there are a lot of people who have like at least 5 years of experience within their companies now. And I often, like when I talk to them, I feel like they always have their own ideas too. Like they want to implement, but they feel like they're not yet in that position to lead their idea. So I think that's a good message to them. First, you can, as you said, you can be a leader in your position too. And also, don't be afraid of failures. As long as you learn something from it, you gain experience. Next time you have an idea, you know better what to do, right? It starts to coming down to this topic of self-advocacy a lot. I've seen you being an advocate for self-advocacy. So I want to understand from your perspective, what is self-advocacy and why do you think it's important?
Okay. I think it's a good question to start from. So the way how I see it, self-advocacy is an ability or a skill to speak clearly and confidently about yourself, about your ideas, about your goals, about your success stories, about your experiences, and to clearly articulate where do you want to go next with this. So it is important to be able to clearly and confidently speak about it. It doesn't come as a naturally born skill, at least not for me, not for many of us, but it's something that we can definitely practice, and we can definitely use self-reflection to understand more about who we are and what message do we want to bring, and start from there.
Is there any like good channel you think we can practice self-advocacy?
A channel, I would say I'd maybe give a couple of recommendations. First of all, really important that you take notes of your accomplishments. It's something very difficult for us to do, because life is always busy. We jump from one thing to another, we think it is done, and then we move to the next one, and then we forget what we have been doing over the past course of 3 months, for instance.
Exactly.
So find a way to systematically take notes of your success stories, things that you're proud of that you accomplished. And by the way, one small recommendation: whenever you notice someone else in your team doing something like that, like having a small accomplishment or big accomplishment, do take a second to write a message and congratulate them on that. It will help them to also make a note to themselves that they have something nice to celebrate or something to be proud of. That's the first thing. Take note of your accomplishments. Create a collection of your success stories, things that you're proud of. Whenever you need to speak to anyone about any of these areas that I've mentioned, do practice. Practice makes perfect. If you have a cat, speak in front of your cat or a dog. It's amazing how much it helps when you actually speak it up, not just in your head, but actually practice your voice when you speak about it. It will help you to be more confident about it when you actually have a moment when you have to talk about it.
I think especially when we gain more, work experience, we know we have built a lot of, successful stories. It's important to practice, and after we practice it, it's also important we start thinking about what are the platforms or what are the maybe channels we should. It's not just practice, right? You need to do it in front of people. So I was thinking nowadays there are many conferences, and I've also seen you attending a lot of famous conferences. How is your experience with attending conferences and representing yourself and those under the spotlight?
First of all, I would always think beforehand whenever I go to a conference or to a meeting, what is my objective for going there? Why am I going there? What is the message I'm going to bring? I will start from there, first of all. And
so
then
think clear about your goal.
Yeah, and then afterwards I will do a mental kind of check-in with myself. Okay, have I met my own expectation? And if I did, well, then it was a good day. Also, in terms of events, I really love events that have a very specific mission or purpose. There are so many fluffy events that maybe
if you open Eventbrite or Meetup, you can see lots of events.
So I'm really carefully thinking about events that I'm going to invest my time into. And I love going there to meet new people and to hear what people do. It's always fascinating. I'm always learning so many things, and I love meeting new people. I'm also like to be in my own shell sometimes, so it's good to find a balance between being a private person and being more focused on your own things and going in spotlight and talking. So everyone is different. Everyone needs to find their own balance.
It's important, as you said, it's important to balance yourself. Like you can be someone who stay in your comfort zone while you are relaxing, but when you feel confident, you should come out and spotlight, speak for yourself, practice self-advocacy. And it's also interesting to note that there are so many events available, and you really, as you said, we need to really review their mission to invest our time well. Speaking of this, we're actually wondering, how's your experience at our last event?
I can definitely say that your last event was a successful one. It was a really good choice of speakers, and the way how you organized the event in terms of lightning talk about some small group discussions, about questions from the audience. I think it was really good. One observation that I've made, that there was a really big range of skills and knowledge with which people have come to your event, from the point of people who actually build implementations of RAG themselves. It was also very useful because they could meet each other, they could expand their network. I think that you can't put a price tag on that. That's really valuable.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I always happy to see that the community of practitioners, it's been built, it's been nurtured, that more people are coming, more expertise been built, more knowledge has been shared. I think that's the only way how we can grow, how we can build a community. So really well done. I'm really looking forward to the next event.
Thank you.
I would really happy to hear the spoiler of the topic of it. So if you want to share, I'll be happy to hear.
Yeah, of course.